the EP Podcast. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at the eppodcast.com.
The EP Podcast heading out to Spoken Vine in the second half of this show with Frank Murray of the Evergreen Park Public Library. Always a lot of fun, but that's after our first guest, and all of it brought to you by the First National Bank of Evergreen Park. They have that total access checking account. I have one. The kids have them. You get free ATMs nationwide when you get one, and a $300 bonus with qualifying activities. Paired with their mobile banking tools and award-winning customer service, switching to a true community bank like the First National Bank of Evergreen Park has never been easier. Plus, there's no overdraft charges. We all make mistakes. My mistakes never hurt me with the First National Bank of Evergreen Park. Get in and see them today in that iconic building at 95th and Pulaski, the First National Bank of Evergreen Park, member FDIC. One of the hottest topics on social media comes to the EP Podcast with our first guest. Sitting down here at the 9-foot homemade oak bar, I have Geoff Layhe. He is a health inspector with the Village of Evergreen Park. And Geoff, you know why you're here. Everybody's talking about it online. There's rats. I know Chicago has had rats forever. Like, my dad was a police officer. We were just talking about that. And he would tell me, like, downtown, those potters and those things that look really decorative in the downtown area, just underneath the grass, there's just thousands of them. You just don't see them. You don't understand there's so many of them around you, especially when you're in the downtown area. It seems like it's increasing here, though, in Evergreen Park. Is that what's happening?
Well, this year has been a real bad year.
Okay.
And there's a lot of reasons for it. Now, we've always had a rat problem, but going back to Mayor Vacco, Mayor Sexton, and now Mayor Burke, they've always made it a priority. So we've always had, each Friday, we go out into the neighborhood and we bait. No other community does this. You know, Chicago used to bait the alleys, but we don't do that because that's too dangerous.
Yeah.
What we do is we have an animal control person. She's a part-time employee. She fields calls from various residents. We instituted recently a rat hotline. The rat hotline is available for people to call and say that they've seen rats in their yard or in their neighbor's yard or in the alley or wherever, the easement. But we've been doing this probably for over 20 years. It's just that this year, it's been a real problem. We had a very warm spring. Spring came early, and we didn't have a deep freeze. So there was more activity, and there are consequently more rats.
Animals live because there's not a freeze. I mean, there's a reason why we don't get the same kind of animals up in the northern states than we get in the southern states. Certain animals can't survive because of weather, and outdoor animals like a rat that have to find shelter, more of them would have died off if it would have been the normal winter.
Not only that, they don't have a food source. Now, If it's a mild winter, they're more able to salvage food, roam around the neighborhoods or your backyard in particular. That's why it's very important to keep your garbage cans and the lids tight, because basically they're looking for food. That's all, you know. And like you said, they were out more. Now, it sounds odd, but we had COVID a couple years ago, and a lot of the restaurants closed, so they kind of moved towards, you know, like out of this downtown area.
That's interesting. Like the restaurants closing changed like the patterns for them.
Yeah, it did somewhat, you know. And what happened is...
So Chicago shut down and they came to places that were more open.
Well, they came for food sources.
That's crazy.
Well, it is crazy and people don't realize that.
Yeah.
You know, I was joking with my fellow staff members, and I said, well, you know, I'm going to bring up climate change, I'm going to bring up COVID, I'm going to bring up the different reasons why this year might have been a change, and we've just touched on two of them. You know, when all the restaurants shut down because of COVID, they had to come and look for food sources. The other thing is, and it's interesting, particularly in the southwest area, they built a soccer field over at Mother McCauley. And now currently they're building
the baseball diamond over at Rice.
Yeah, it's more than...
And Evergreen Park High School did theirs just a couple of years ago where they redid all that.
And all of them were involved, you know, doing digging. And,
digging brings the rats.
Well, the rats are there. It just brings them and relocates the rats. You know, they're in an environment, and you think about it, you're by St. Xavier's, they got the pond, they're in an environment where they're close to a residential area, but they live underground. And when you start digging, and we just put a nice development over there off of Cadsey Avenue, and that required digging. So whenever there's digging going on, you'll see an uptake in the rat population and the animal population in general. I'm not an expert on animals, but I've been doing this rat thing for a long time. And whenever there's like excavation of any sort, it disturbs their habitat.
And then all of a sudden you get more rats. So what exactly are you doing? Because I know there's a lot of different methods, and I know that some residents might be thinking to themselves, like, maybe I should be doing something on my own. So first part of the question is, what specifically is the village doing? Like, is there a certain type of trap, certain type of poison, certain type of way you go about dealing with the problem? And then should residents be also doing something on their own? Do you advise that?
Absolutely. What we do is we have Anderson Pest Control, which is a state-certified pest exterminator. They have a technician come out, and we've had the same technician now for at least 8 years, so he's very familiar with the neighborhood. And we've used Anderson for at least 15, 20 years. So they also are familiar with our neighborhood. What they do is they accompany me, because I am not a licensed exterminator, and you have to have a license. You can't be putting dangerous.
We don't let anybody walk out there and put hazardous things out there.
That's
right.
Exactly.
You got to have an expert that knows what they're doing, because you want to keep it safe.
And then you have me with them, because I know the area, and I'm the health inspector, and I can go onto the properties, but we don't go onto properties without either being notified or notifying. And if they do have a pet, we do tell them that anytime we do not use poison. We use what they call first strike, and it's called diethylene. It's an anticoagulant, okay? Now, it would take, like, for a regular house pet, like, they'd have to eat 50 of these packets. They come in packets. They look like a condiment package, like a mustard, when you go to the store.
But you'd have to eat, a dog would have to eat a lot of these.
A real lot of them.
For that to actually affect, like, a dog. So these are more effective with rats, and what you're trying to do is find something that's a little bit safer than other rat poisons that might be out there.
Right, yeah. We don't use any kind of lethal poison. We use an anticoagulant.
Okay.
And what happens is the rat eats it, and then they hemorrhage. And then when they hemorrhage, like I said, there's a lot of holes. Those are not all nests. There's one nest. They get paranoid, and they immediately go to the holes into their nest. But sometimes they don't. Sometimes I just had a case on Lawndale where it was on a porch. Well, the person called, and it was a woman, and she reported it. Well, we're not equipped to go out to every house and pick up a dead rat, but I was there today. She reported it yesterday, and her husband was there, and the rat died. He took a shovel, put it in a bag, and then he put it in his garbage, okay? And that's a proper thing to do.
Okay.
You don't want to touch it. You use a shovel, but the whole point is, he made a point. He goes, I have my own traps up, and they haven't been used. I go, well, think about it. You caught 10 rats with your own traps, then you called us, and we've gotten a bunch of them. So that indicates to me now all of a sudden you don't have any rats in your trap, and we did find a couple dead rats, so that means it's obviously working.
Right.
And that's how we go about it.
So I the Facebook pages are out there and things like that. I saw some very sad story that somebody lost a dog recently. But what you're describing, your method wouldn't generally cause that, because so it almost seems like that means other people, like this person you just described, they're doing their own thing. They're getting their own traps and maybe laying their own poison.
Them or their neighbors.
Right. So the thing is, like, do you think it's ill-advised for community members to be laying their own poisons? Well, traps make more sense than poisons because of the danger of it?
I would think yes. I mean, anytime you kill something, it's an inherent danger. We don't go hunting in our backyards. For example, if you go deer hunting or bird hunting or whatever, we don't do it you go to a rural area.
Right.
Well, here, this is an urban animal, basically. And I don't recommend just throwing poison all over. But on the other hand, those little traps that you buy, and they have very sophisticated ones, and now the people use cameras, the little cameras you can buy, and they can track them, and you'd be surprised how many people do that. But I believe the best thing to do is prevention. And if you don't mind, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, what exactly do we do to prevent them?
Very simple.
I mean, my prevention right now is there's a dog in the backyard, and I see him go after things, and that might be chasing them.
Well, the best thing you can do is pick up the dog feces.
Okay.
You would be shocked because rats eat dog feces, and they like it.
Right.
You know, it's a food source for them. It's not for us, but it is a food source for the rats. So I've been in some yards, not a lot, but in some yards where the dog feces is piled up for days. When your dog does his number, you got to clean it up right away.
Right.
If you leave it out overnight, that's an attraction. It doesn't mean you're going to get rats, but it's attraction. We do have an ordinance, Section 4-9 in the Village Municipal Code, that says ground feeding of animals is prohibited. Now, you know yourself, you've seen people out there throwing peanuts down on the ground. One of the things they do is they take bird seed or they take sunflower seeds and lay them out for the birds. Rats love sunflower seeds.
Okay.
And if you want to attract a rat, all you have to do is don't pick up your dog feces and throw some...
Look, rats everywhere. If you're looking for some rats for the kids to play with in the backyard to keep them busy, you can bring in the rats by not picking up the dog poop and throw a bunch of sunflower seeds around.
Right.
Okay.
And we're not against feeding the birds, but
Right.
I highly recommend if you're going to
Bird feeder. Like put it up high.
And the best ones are the cylinder types because they have the least amount of spillage. Now, we don't mandate that you have to have them because that would be ludicrous. But if you do have a bird feeder, it wouldn't hurt to put something underneath the bird feeder, like a little tray or something, so that if there is spillage, it'll catch in there, and then you can empty it, just like when you take your garbage out. Because if you feed them, I always tell the residents, if you feed them, they shall come. Because again, Chicago has the highest rat population in the nation, higher than Los Angeles, higher than New York.
That's amazing.
You wouldn't think that.
Well, chalk that up to another problem I have with the city of Chicago. That's amazing.
That is amazing,
yeah.
isn't it? And it's documented. I'm not making it up.
Yeah, and it shows and for something like that to happen, and for them to be the worst with rats, that comes from years and years and years of not taking care of the problem. How do you know if you've got one that's set up shop, let's say in your garage or your shed, or they're nesting there? Because all animals poop. I can't tell the difference between like a rabbit and if there was a rabbit that got into there or if I got a rat that got in there. Are there any tips for people? Like what should they be looking for as evidence that rats were there?
It's a good point. You bring out a lot of good points.
Thank you.
Okay. So you have an overhead garage door, and you have the rubber strip on the bottom, and you look on each corner, and you see that there's a hole in that corner. Well, that hole didn't come from wear and tear because
That's a rat.
You're pulling. It's a critter, and 9 times out of 10, it's a rat. We go back to feeding again. All right. So in your garage, you have your grass seed, right?
Yeah.
So the animals, the rats in this case, are looking for food, particularly in the wintertime, because there's nothing abundant. So they go into the garage, and you got an abandoned car. So would you rather live out in the cold, or would you rather live in the abandoned car? Okay, so that's one situation. But you have your grass and fertilizer seed, okay? So where is it? It's in the garage. Now, if you have it in a bag, they're going to chew through the bag. If you put it in a Tupperware container, it's less likely that they have the ability to gnaw through anything.
But secure your stuff as best as possible.
Right.
And when you see the gnawing, it's likely a critter, and 9 times out of 10, it's a rat.
Right.
Okay.
And then the other thing, we will go in there and we will abate it. But, prevention is a lot better than a cure. I mean, there are things, and I said already about the bird feeders. I said also not to ground feed. I also said the dog feces. But also, it's just in general, you want to store your bird seed, your grass seed. You want to put it in a secure container. and you're less likely. Now we'll go in a garage and we'll abate it, and you can see where the rats do their business, and the rats poo is a lot bigger than a mouse poo, okay? And so the mice is like
tiny little pebbles.
Tiny.
Yeah.
And the rat's probably about a half an inch in length.
Okay, so that looks different. Okay.
It does look different.
Yeah, okay.
And if it's gray, and like real gray, that means it's probably been there and they're gone, because if I go into a garage and I see there's mice or droppings or rat droppings, and it's real gray and it's not like almost metallic.
They haven't been there.
They haven't been there in a long time, right?
I've learned so much today. I love this.
It's all true. It's little things that mean a lot.
708-577-7287. Give a call. That's the rat hotline here in Evergreen Park, 708-577-7287. Geoff here is going to take care of you. He's going to get the right people out, professionals who are going to do a professional job going after the rats, and they're fighting a battle. And I was going to ask you, where in Evergreen are they most prevalent? But I think I can figure it out now, because you're like, where are we digging? Where we're digging is probably where they're at the most. When you're leaving a lot of things in your backyard that they can eat, that's where they're hanging out. And so if you want to know where they're at or how to avoid having them come to your home, I think you learned an awful lot. And Geoff, I really appreciate you jumping on the EP podcast.
Well, thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
Building relationships, supporting the community, and service. These are the things that Country Financial stands for. They're more than just an office you may pass by as you drive through Evergreen Park. They're neighbors who lend a helping hand and support the fabric of your community, including charitable organizations, sports, financial education, and civic organizations. And since Country is already your neighbor, they want to get together and chat. Call your local Country Financial representative, Mike Thauer, today at 708-425-1559 to talk about the things that are important to you and how he can help you protect them. It is now time for your EP podcast, Word on the Street, brought to you by Spoken Vine, northeast corner of 95th and Kedzie. We're going to be there shortly to speak with Frank Murray from the Evergreen Park Public Library for our monthly segment. Before that, congrats to Evergreen Park Community High School. EPCHS has been recognized as a school of distinction in art education, one of only 8 schools statewide receiving the prestigious honor this year. Save the date, the 11th annual Fall Fest Trivia Night put on by the Southwest Bulldog Boosters is coming up on Friday, November the 8th at 7 p.m. at the American Legion Hall. Tickets, info, and the chance to sponsor swboosterfundraising@gmail.com. Remember to show your support for EP businesses and get the brand new EP bumper sticker with the heart on it. Spend $40 or more across 3 different categories of local business to get your new sticker. Stickers can be redeemed at Village Hall. Get more information on the Village website. With a full slate of things happening in October, we head now to Spoken Vine and we join Frank Murray and the winners of this year's Battle of Evergreen Park. The EP podcast out at Spoken Vine, northeast corner, 95th and Kedzie. Frank Murray here from the Evergreen Park Library.
Hey, Chris.
Who's having a big month.
Hey, everybody.
We're going to talk a lot about October. We're going to have the folks in from Spoken Vine here in a moment because they're very excited. They won the battle.
They won, yes.
Yes.
Woo.
So we're going to do that in just a moment. Before I bring them in, though, to celebrate their big victory and talk about they're having a big party. They're
huge party.
Having a big
Biggest
celebration
party.
for winning the Battle of Evergreen
Best
Park.
party ever.
This episode comes out with only a couple days left in the month of September.
Yeah.
This is the month that you could take advantage of Frank and pay off all of your library debt for $1.
Right,
so
for
$1.
That's
you have
it.
hundreds of dollars in fines, $1 gets you out of it. And Frank always swears
just
he's
for
never
Evergreen
doing
Park
it again.
items. Just for Evergreen Park items.
Just Evergreen Park items.
Evergreen Park items.
Okay,
yeah.
Be careful. You got another item. That's how they get you. But Frank always says he's never doing this again.
Never.
And then he does it again. Yeah. So just remember, if you miss this time, you can get him next year. Okay, don't pay those fines.
Don't give away my secrets, Chris. Come on. These are secrets we get
so
people to come back in the library
He's so
for.
mad at me for doing that. Okay, before we get to what you're doing at the library, let's bring in Reed and Bridget from Spoken Vine. We'll bring them in here. They won the Battle of Evergreen Park, which is astounding. They knocked off some really big competitors. Thank you so much. And they are holding a celebration party. We're going to get into it. You're excited? Like you've been pumped up. You texted me the day that the announcement was made that you guys had won, and I could tell that you were just ecstatic over the fact.
I was sending you GIFs. I was like, which GIF is most appropriate? And maybe I should send a few more.
I mean, and then right away you were like, we're going to make shirts. And I'm like, you're going to make shirts? And you're like, we're going to do all kinds of stuff about this. Like, we won the Battle of Evergreen Park. Can we use the EP podcast logo? And I'm like, go nuts. You want to make shirts? They're like, you're getting a shirt. Like this. They're excited about this, and congratulations, you earned it. I mean, 1 year, and people really respond to Spoken Vine.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a really good turnout. You know, we want to thank the EP podcast listeners, you know, the smartest, most educated,
that's right,
best looking, most successful people on the planet Earth. We love you all dearly.
And the Spoken Vine super fans. I mean, they came through.
Yeah.
We went through social media, we went through email, we were hitting the streets on Labor Day.
You guys were working. I was actually explaining this earlier. The last day of voting, I checked in on where they were, and I'm like, you know, Los Angeles is a powerhouse, and it was a percentage point. And I was like, well, let's see where the day goes. And they worked it to keep their numbers up, and they kept that margin exactly the same thing all the way to the end. It was amazing. You guys worked your butts off, but it's not just because you're working for votes. I was just in here last weekend. You got crowds coming into this place. People are really responding to the food. We featured it on previous episodes, and people love the wine selection. I think you guys are killing it right now.
Well, and I thank you, because people do bring up how they saw that cheese pull and they want to come back. They want to see, why didn't I get that last time? I need to come and get that mac and cheese.
That's awesome. What are we toasting with here?
All right, so we have this is a Gringolino Rosé. So Gringolino is a native grape to Piedmont. It drinks very much like a Nebbiolo, which is what they make Barolo and Barbaresco out of.
Okay.
They pull the skins out early on this, so it's typically like a super dry wine that has like strawberry and cherry and like a little bit of leatheriness. So this pulls all the tannins out. This is a real showstopper of a bottle. I love it. It's one of my favorites. So.
All right.
Great celebratory.
Congratulations.
Spoken Vine.
Cheers. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Oh, that's very good. This is available here as well.
Available.
This is available. That's awesome.
Reasonably priced. If you ever need a really good bottle to take to a party, that's what I recommend.
Details on the celebration party. Anybody can come in? Is this a private event, or anybody can come and celebrate your win?
Not a private event, but we will be doing like a ticket at the door, because we're going to have a buffet out, and you'll get a celebratory bubbles or the new sangria that we're going to launch.
Nice.
So sangria party was a big hit, and the buffet is going to be a taco bar, and that's something that I'm really, really good at. That's something that we always did for all of our parties, and so now I have a little bit more means, and I think let's blow the doors off.
I'm checking my calendar there on my phone. I wasn't checking the text. The 29th.
September
29th.
It's a Sunday.
Kicks off at what time?
3 o'clock.
It goes until
8 o'clock.
Okay.
So it's our normal
3 to 8
Sunday hours.
But if you get in here on 3 to 8 on Sunday the 29th, you get to celebrate with Spoken Vine. Like I said, you got shirts and you got bubbly and you got buffet, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be a blast. I'm going to be here. I've already made my plans. I'll be here.
Reed plans on bringing some new fun things to pour. So, I mean, there's going to be a lot of, true wine bar experience to be had.
I am going to be here all day. Come out and see me here.
You can see the pile of boxes growing in the corner.
I mean, they really are prepping. It's a party for all of Evergreen Park, celebrating the winners of the Battle of Evergreen Park. Again, guys, congratulations. Awesome job.
Cheers.
Very, very
Thank
good.
You.
All right.
Time to go.
October.
Yeah.
Big day, and something that they forgot to mention, and I know you'll be there. I'm sure the library is going to be there.
Yes.
I know Spoken Vine is going to be there. Oktoberfest coming up on the 5th over at the community center. Spoken Vine, I know, is going to have some food items. I think they're doing the bacon wrap dates, which is one of their best things on the menu. Dates. They're going to have wine selections. I know last year they had some German wines out there. Everybody assumes everybody wants to drink German beers. They're going to have a selection out there. So get out and see them. It's going to be incredible.
It's going to be a popular table.
You want to come back in? Reed's coming back in. I said something wrong, and he's coming in to tell me what I said wrong.
You said it absolutely right.
Okay.
The new sangria we have is an apple cinnamon clove Gewürztraminer sangria for Oktoberfest.
Ooh.
You can have it cold. If it's really cold that day, we'll be doing it warm. We'll be doing it warm at the bar over the winter. It is fantastic.
I cannot wait. I mean, you guys are going to be a highlight of Oktoberfest as well. I cannot wait for that.
The library, Chris.
Yes.
We got all sorts of fun stuff. Where do you want me to start? Should I start with the kids, teens, adults?
I like
what
the
do
kids.
you like the kids?
Yeah, it's all about the kids.
All right. Well, probably
Parents, at this time of year, you're trying to find something from the do when they get back from school and their homework is done, and what can we get them involved in? And this really is a kid's season. You know, if you think about it, like this is the best 3 months that kids have all year long, I think, because you go from Halloween and all the decorations up into like holidays with the family. You're ready for Santa to show up. Like, I mean, this is some kid time right now. So what do you got?
It's big kid time.
Yeah.
So we got something for all ages, and the first thing that this is probably one of my most favorite reading programs that we offer. It's called Book Club.
Oh my gosh, you're so corny.
And that's from October 1st through the 31st. Registration starts September 21st, and it's for grades 5 and under. And Chris, what's so special about Book Club? Well, if you read for 4 hours in October, or be read to for 4 hours in October.
Just say that you read for 4 hours. What do you get?
Okay, Chris, not everybody cheats like you. Man, there are kids out there that enjoy reading and want to read.
I know.
No. Guess what? You're going to earn a big old bag of Halloween candy. You get a huge trick-or-treat bag. That's your grand prize. Oh, it's the best stuff.
Is it?
Miss Laura goes all out with it. She enjoys this too. So fall into STEAM. Thursdays, October 3rd, 10th, 17th, and 24th, starting at 4 p.m. That's for grades K through 5. You're going to do all sorts of STEAM activities centered around the fall. So on the 3rd, we have apple volcanoes. You're going to make a volcano out of apples. On the 10th, there's going to be scarecrow engineering. On the 17th is pumpkin candy catapult.
Okay.
We'll launch those little pumpkin candies. And then on the 24th, you're going to do a candy corn tower. Make a candy corn tower.
Well, at least you found a use for candy corn. The worst
besides
candy ever
eating
made.
it and getting cavities.
It's the worst candy ever made. I'd rather people build with it than consume it. It's just awful.
It was meant to cause cavities, right?
I mean, like my grandmother, I think, used to put it out because she knew we wanted to eat sweets, but she didn't want us to actually eat sweets. So you would try the candy corn, you'd be like, why am I eating this? This is awful. And then the jar would just sit there on the counter.
I was the kid that would eat the whole jar and then run around my grandmother's house for 14 hours.
I knew you were one of those people that like candy corn. Okay.
Yeah, I got it. I can't help it. I got a sweet tooth. I can't help it. And then we've got our always fun and popular Guess the Weight and Win with the pumpkin. Can't pick it up. Can't try it out.
You just have to look at it.
You just got to look at it.
Okay.
You can inspect it, but you can't touch it or pick it up. But that's from October 21st through the 28th. It's going to be in our Children's Services Department. And those who correctly guess the weight will be entered into a drawing, and our winner will be picked there.
How close do you have to be considered a correct guess?
Right on the dot.
So do I have to have decimal points here, or just like the
If
pounds?
you feel there's decimal points.
Really?
But I think we round up.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So if you think it's 28 pounds, put 28 pounds.
All right.
I don't know how big this
Is this pumpkin going to be on display?
It will be on display.
So I can go, I can see this
You
pumpkin.
can see it, yeah.
I can walk up to the Jewel. I can grab a similar sized pumpkin, I can put it on a scale in my house, and then I can come in and I can vote.
You could do that, yes. And only Chris Lanuti would come up with these. What else do we got? We were trying a new one here, glow-in-the-dark bowling.
Okay.
This is going to be Monday, October 21st at 6:30, grades K through 5. We're going to...
You're not doing it at the library, though.
Yeah, it's going to be at the library.
You're going to bowl at the library?
We're not only going to bowl, but we're going to show you how to make a glow-in-the-dark bowling set. And then we're all going to play together. We're also going to have snacks.
Okay.
So it should be a lot of fun. And then costumes, Halloween, fall, Halloween, costume time, right? So we're having our costume story walk. That's going to be Saturday, October 26th at 11:30 a.m. That's going to be at Yukich Fields over there on 89th and Kedzie. Put on your costume and join us for a story walk. We'll have a story. We'll read a story and then proceed around in a nice little parade around Yukich Field. All right, so we got a bunch of fun stuff going on with our teens. We've got a Halloween cupcake decorating workshop. That's Sunday, October 20th at 1 p.m. We're going to have a culinary arts instructor, Violetta Truget. I'm sorry for not pronouncing that name. I know, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But she will guide you and give you tips on decorating your cupcakes. And you're going to receive a cupcake kit with pre-baked cupcakes, some sprinkles, sugar decorations, all sorts of fun stuff. It's going to be Sunday,
a lot of sweets
October
at the
20th at 1 p.m.
You have a lot of sweets here in October at the library.
Because we're a sweet place.
I know.
We're a sweet place. We're going to draw spooky stories with Andertoons.
Okay.
That's Saturday, October 26th at 2 p.m. It's for grades K through 8. But we're going to learn how to draw ghosts, ghouls, goblins, and Gary in this fun cartooning class.
Okay. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's all Halloween themed, it feels like.
Do you know who Gary is, Chris?
No.
I was hoping you were going to...
Gary's the mascot, right? A gerbil you have? Some kind of animal that you keep in a cage?
We don't have an animal, but we do have a mascot, a new mascot.
Okay.
But Gary, I don't even know who Gary is, so you're going to have to come and find out who Gary is.
Okay.
I just like to leave these speeches.
I've ever heard in my life.
Isn't that great?
It's terrible.
Isn't it great?
Is it alive? Is Gary alive?
Gary is not alive. We're going to learn.
He's a stuffed animal.
You're going to learn how to draw Gary.
Okay, but he's a stuffed animal, right?
Gary? No. You're going to have to come and find out.
He's not a cadaver. Some guy named Gary.
I hope not.
Okay, so
that's going to be an awkward program.
Well, it is Halloween.
It is Halloween.
All right. All right, what do we got for adults?
All right, so adults.
This month, October.
You ready?
Library.
Friday, this is an after-hours event. Friday, October 4th at 6:30 p.m. There's one of the most popular TV shows ever celebrating its 30th anniversary. Can you guess which TV show that
30th anniversary. Friends?
Yeah,
yes.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Form your team. We're going to have a trivia contest, just Friends.
Okay.
Friends, and that's Friday, October 4th, 6:30 p.m. 4 people per team. Register in advance because space is limited. It's almost about ready to full up now, so make sure you get it. And last time I talked to the mayor, she was putting together a team.
Yeah, Friends Trivia is competitive. Mm-hmm. There are people that have watched that show over and over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be a lot of fun. On Thursday, October 10th at 6:30 p.m., we have antique appraisals with Rex Newell. He's going to be appraising your collectibles. So this is only for
your old stuff, and this guy's going to tell you what it's worth.
Correct. Right. Only for the first 40 people, though, that register. Everybody else after, you're just a spectator enjoying the event. So if you have something in your house that you would like to get appraised, please be one of the first 40 people. I will note, though, no Asian, Native American items, or firearms. Those are like 3 things he does not want to appraise.
I get the firearms thing, but why not the
I am assuming
Asian
it's because
items? Like,
or Native American. I'm assuming those aren't his areas of expertise.
He isn't really sure. Mm-hmm. Okay, fine. Mm-hmm. All right.
So that's what's going on there.
The firearms one I totally got. Like, don't bring your weapons. I got a musket. You don't want that.
Find the next PBS show. You can go on there. So that's going on Thursday, October 10th at 6:30 p.m.
Just a great lineup that you have.
Oh, thank you, Chris. I'm
very proud.
I'm going to sign you up for a couple of them already.
Just sign me up. Just sign me up. I may be there. I may not be there.
then we're going to put a line through your name.
Right. That's what you should start doing now. You should start like, is Chris Lanuti here?
Yeah.
No. And just every event.
Blocked, banned, whatever.
Cheers, my friend.
Cheers. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Spoken Vine.
I will see you at Oktoberfest.
I'll be there.
We'll see all of you at Oktoberfest.
Stop by the library's table.
And don't forget, the 29th of September, the big celebration, Spoken Vine wins the Battle of Evergreen Park. They are going to have a big party over here. Get over here. I'll be here. That one I'm definitely going to be at.
Awesome.
I might come to some of your stuff, but I'm definitely
we'll drag you there.
All right. Well, let's see you here. Let's see you here on the 29th.
Okay, on the 29th. It's a Sunday.
Take your lovely wife out. Okay?
I guess so.
I'm sure she likes to leave the house every once in a while.
Sometimes.
Yeah, get her out.
For wine, sure. Cheers.
It's the EP Podcast. All things Evergreen Park. It's the EP Podcast. Evergreen Park.